Then when you get that, there is a new tax platform that was just brought in, which is called Tax Promax. So you validate the tax. And one of the benefits of that is when you go online on the FRS portal to check your tax identification number, you will find it there. You find your business details there as well. And then when you want to open a bank account, most banks will be able to verify your tax identification number as well. And then for filing of taxes, you can easily do that online once you complied with the tax formats and not just obtaining the tax identification number. So if you've obtained the number before and you've not validated it on tax formats platform, it is advisable that you do that. Then after that, you are also expected to open a bank account for the business, which is very, very important. And then protect your intellectual property. Protecting intellectual property is something that is so important because every aspect of that business or that company is an asset. The name, the logo, you have to protect it. Your trade secrets, you don't necessarily need to register it, but you need to put structure in place to ensure continues to be a trade secret. And most importantly, you need to register with the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. And we had Madam Uchena speak from the commission earlier on at the beginning of the webinar. So that is one commission that I know, as well as CAC. They are very responsive, so they don't have complications or issues with registration. Very effective. Registrations are very, very fast. So as a foreigner, you need to obtain your NIPC certificate by registering with them. If you're bringing in foreign technology into Nigeria, you need to also register with the National Office for Transfer, Technology Acquisition and Promotion, which is NOTAP. And then you also need to obtain expatriate quota, business permit, then residence and work permit. So expatriate quota is simply you need to get a quota for foreigners who will be coming into the country. Yes, you can register your business or your company online, but in the event that you want to be present, you want to come into the country, then the company needs expatriate quota. And then the company needs a business permit. It is a foreign company, so it needs that business permit to carry on business in Nigeria. And for the work and residence permit, these individuals coming in under the company also require a work and residence permit to be able to work and reside in Nigeria. It is a company that has an expatriate quota that can apply for its members or its staffs to get a work and residence permit. So it's very important that you obtain this. And then a certificate of capital importation. As a foreign company, you would want to move money back to your home country or outside the country. So you need to get that as well. The licenses. So different businesses in different sectors. If you fall under a sector that requires a license, then you should obtain such license because non-compliance can result in fines, penalties, which is generally not good for the reputation of your business. So you need to obtain such licenses. You need to get contracts. So if you have employees, get an employment contract. Very important. A company needs to have structure, and some of this structure are done with contracts. So you need contracts, either a partnership agreement, founders agreement, shareholders agreement, employment agreement, sales agreement, and a host of other contracts. And then if you fall under businesses that are required to obtain a SCUMO, which is simply an anti-money laundering certificate stating that you are aware of the fact that such a business can be used for money laundering, but you will not be engaging in so businesses like real estate, car businesses, supermarkets, and a host of others are required to obtain such registration. So if you are required to do that, then you should obtain those certificates. Even at the stage of opening a bank account, you'd be requested by the bank to obtain such certificates. For example, money lending businesses, they are required to obtain a money lending license and some other businesses as well. So if you're a business in the food sector or cosmetic sector and are required to register with NAFDAC, which is the body in charge of regulating food and drugs and cosmetic products in Nigeria, then you'd also be required to obtain a permit from them as well. Then after registration with CAC, 18 months after registration, you are expected to file annual returns yearly. So these annual returns, they are different from tax. People confuse it and think that annual return is the same as tax. Tax is to the federal and state bodies, while annual return is to the CAC, which is in charge of company operations. So annual returns basically just puts your business on active or inactive. When you don't file annual return, your business will be put on inactive because CAC would not know whether you are operating. They will know whatever is going on in that business. They are not aware. But when you file annual returns, then the business will be put on active because they get yearly updates of what happens in the business. You file your states, your financial assets, your net assets, and all of that. Fill in the details of the current officers of the business, and that's it. It's more like a notification. So if you don't also file it, there are penalties that are located on a yearly basis. So you can decide that, oh, you are not filing annual return, or you decide that, okay, business has not been moving so well, you don't want to do anything. But the fact that business hasn't been moving so well doesn't mean you shouldn't file annual return. You have to constantly file it every year. And when people go online and they search for your business, because people do it a lot, I do that when I want to interact with businesses I'm not so familiar with. I will go online to check if they are registered. And if I see that you are inactive, it's a little bit of a red flag because you are not taking your business regulatory compliance seriously. So if it's inactive, people start wondering what the problem is. And if you want to even use such documents to apply for certain licenses or obtain certain documents at the bank or get a visa, even when they do their own checks and they go online, because this portal CAC has a public search and they check and they see that it is inactive, you won't be allowed. You'll be told, go and rectify the problem, go and file your annual return. So it's important that you file your annual return. And also, when you make changes in the company, such as you change the secretary, you change the director, or there has been a transfer or surrender of shares, then you need to update these things on your company document. You need to notify CAC. You need to observe certain corporate governance rules immediately. Even for your company address, if you registered a company at point A, let's say in Nigeria, your head office was in Lagos, and then you relocated to Abuja, then you should effect it immediately on CAC. Notify CAC that there has been a change in your address, and the right documents will be given to you, which is a status report showing the current status of the company. So when there are changes that are required or that have been made in the business, ensure that you make such changes on CAC as well. Then for taxes, ensure that you make your tax filings as at when you don't stall, because there are penalties for these things. And we know that the penalties, it might not be something that is pleasing, because as a business or as a company, you are going into such industry or whatever industry you decide to venture into for profit making purpose. So it is important that you try to observe some of these regulatory compliance to avoid penalties and fines.